Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing the third installment of the off-season tracker slash preview video, today focusing on the Phoenix Suns. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment what team you'd like to see me do next, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the Suns have been one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA over the last couple of seasons. Of course, after making the Bradley Beal trade, it's been nothing but downhill. They made the playoffs last year, proceeded to get swept in the first round, and then missed the play-in this year. It's really bad. And this is going to be a little bit of a different video than my last two, where I focused on, trade targets and how those teams can improve. Not going to be doing that here because the Suns have no assets, and this team is eons away from competing. So instead, going to be focusing a lot on one man, and that is Kevin Durant. A lot of reports came out today about where he could go, and we won't really know, obviously. And this could be something that could really drag out across the offseason, but that'll be the main focus. Let's get into the roster. So, Kevin Durant starting off $54.7 million on an expiring contract. I'm almost certain he's going to get traded. I think he wants to get traded. I think they want to trade him. So expect that. Then you have Bradley Beal on the worst contract in basketball. Still has 2 years left on his Supermax with a no-trade clause. A truly unbelievable contract handed out by the Wizards. Wow. Just incredible to look at that contract. To just think about the Bradley Beal contract. You really forget how bad it is when you don't think about it for a while. Then you got Devin Booker, who I thought really had a bit of a bad year last year. It was his lowest points per game in like the last 5 years. I don't know, man. Booker, to me, he's got to prove to me he can be a number one again. I felt a little rough with him over the past couple of years with Durant. Again, though, that team last year was so awful that it's kind of hard to take anything away from, like, how did Booker play and how did Durant play and some of these other guys, but I don't think you should trade Booker. I think next year, because you're still going to be on the hook for this Beal deal, right? You're not going to be able to get off of it. You can't tank. You just don't have the assets. Now, there are some trades where you could get a lot of your assets back, but the problem is I don't think you're going to get all those assets back with Kevin Durant. I think getting those assets back would be, let's trade Devin Booker. Now, you can do that, but I would give it another year with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and see if those two can work it out, and then if not, you can go from there. Grayson Allen, he's fine. I don't know. He can shoot. That's about it. Getting paid $17 million. It's a tradable deal. If they wanted to trade him, they could trade him, but he's whatever. Royce O'Neal, I actually really like Royce O'Neal. He's a really good player. Just a really solid 3-and-D wing, and in the modern NBA, you need a lot of those guys. Big thing for me with Royce, though, is he a starting caliber player on a championship contender? Probably not, but on a cheap deal, I think you should keep him no matter what. Cody Martin, he's a fringe rotation guy on an expiring. Vasily Micic is not an NBA player on an expiring. Then you got Nick Richards, who they traded for last year, and it was honestly a little bit sad to hear Suns fans get so hyped up about him, for him to play like 3 good games and then kind of just be whatever the rest of the year. I think he's fine. I think he'd be a good backup big, but by no means should he be your starting caliber center. And then to get to some positives, Ryan Dunn. I really, really like Ryan Dunn as a player. He's a great defender. He's big, he's long, he's athletic. The jumper was fake to start the year and in the preseason. He's not a good shooter yet, but he's a competitive defender, and he has hustle and heart and athleticism, and this team needs it badly. He should start next year no matter what. No matter what, he needs to start, and he needs to be playing big minutes. Whatever coach they hire, which I think it's either going to be, I think it was a Thunder assistant or a Celtic assistant, play Ryan Dunn 35 minutes, please. And then Oso Ighodaro, again, I liked what he gave them. Again, he's, very raw, very far away, but they're so devoid of athleticism, so devoid of people who want to try, that it was kind of jarring when Ryan Dunn and Oso were on the court, and it's the reason that Budenholzer got fired, was he didn't play him enough. But it was jarring watching those two when they were on the court versus when, I mean, you see the rest of this garbage roster was on the court. Obviously, they could bring back guys like Tyus Jones, but I wouldn't expect them to. $219.2 million is currently their cap. They are way over the second apron, so very little in the way of trade maneuverability. It's the reason I think it's almost going to have to be a Durant trade. Like, you can trade Grayson Allen, but, I mean, what real value are you getting? The Suns are in a bad position. They do not have leverage. Like, I could see, like, a Grayson Allen, Goga Batadze trade from the Magic if, like, they were so desperate for shooting. Like, hey, you can get Goga and, like, other salary, and we'll get Grayson Allen. I would do that type of trade. But other than Grayson Allen, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, no one else on this roster you're trading. So there's not much. Moving on to the depth chart, not pretty. It's bad, right? Nick Richards is projected to be your starting center. A lot of things are going to have to get fixed here in this offseason. I don't think they can become a championship contender this offseason. I think the only way that would happen is if somehow Bradley Beal got traded and somehow they got something decent back for him. But even then, there's no team in the NBA to trade for Bradley Beal. There is no team. Because to get to what is his salary? Let me look back. To get to $53.6 million, you're going to have to trade at least one or two good players. Zero chance you are getting anything good for Bradley Beal. So, as long as he's on the team, they're done. But I think they can make a trade to try to fix some of their needs as we get here. Number one is trade Kevin Durant. Let me do my KD rant now. I think KD is one of the 10 most skilled basketball players of all time. He is one of the 3 to 4 best scorers of all time. And yet he is not one of the top 20 players of all time. Why is that? Well, it's because of his mentality, right? And I hate to talk about things like mentality and intangibles because I don't know Kevin Durant personally. I'm not in the locker room. But everywhere he goes, it ends poorly. Every destination, he's not leaving on good terms. He's stabbed OKC in the back. Stabbed them in the back. He is the most hated man in OKC to this day. The Warriors, into the Warriors' tenure was, well, we won 2 titles, but it was like, ew, like he's fighting with Draymond. He's not getting along with the coaching staff. Goes to Brooklyn. That implodes in dramatic fashion relatively quickly. People don't like him there. Then he goes to the Suns, and now they want to trade him too. There's no player of his caliber that's ever been moved around like this, whether it's his fault or the organization's. You gotta trade Kevin Durant if I'm the Suns. There is just no way, because there's no other way to really fix the roster. It is either we have Kevin Durant and we suck, or we don't have Kevin Durant and like maybe we can kind of compete. Trade Kevin Durant. Number 2, they need real NBA level centers. Now, I like Nick Richards and Oso Ighodaro as your 2 backups. I think those two being your 2 backups, your 2 bench bigs, I like that. And honestly, it'd be Oso over Nick Richards, but either way. Get an NBA caliber center. Get someone with some physicality, some oomph in that front court, because this is a soft, weak team that just gets bullied every game they play. They need more size. Number 3 is athleticism. Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, they bring that athleticism. They need more of it throughout the roster. I'm working under the assumption that Booker and Beal are going to be on the team. I think the other 3 players in that starting lineup need to be athletes. Ryan Dunn is an athlete, and then hopefully you can trade for a center that's an athlete, and, find someone else that can be an athlete as well. Number 4, point of attack defense. This one I don't know with Booker and Beal, but again, Ryan Dunn, I like what he brings, and So you can find one more guy, and then play finishing is my final one. I mean, that's more of a pipe dream, but I would look to get athletes and guys who can, like, kind of play offense, and let's see where that can go next season. You know, like, Bradley Beal is the worst contract in basketball, but I still think he's good. Like, Bradley Beal is good at basketball. He isn't a complete bum. Clearly, with this build of team, it's not going to work. But, like, if you could get back to where, hey, Bradley Beal can be, like, the main guy or, like, the second option, I think that could actually work a little bit. So, get athletes. Get dudes who you can have a physical force. Build a roster where the goal is, okay, Booker and Beal are going to play offense. They're going to be our big scorers. We're going to ask them both to score a lot. The rest of the roster are tough, gritty, biting kneecaps, diving at knees, right? That's how you want to build this roster, in my opinion. I would look at how the Mavs built their roster with Luka and Kyrie. Different level of players, obviously. But rely on playing defense, keeping games close, and then try to close because you have Booker and Beal. Now, what they could also do is try and do what they've done in the past, which is go star hunting, which is not what they should do. There are teams, I think, that would be willing to trade for Kevin Durant. He's really good. He's a borderline top 10 player. I don't think you're getting the package that they maybe want. There was reports today that the Suns have lowered their asking price. I think they want him off the team no matter what. And I think his price is probably the salary to get there. Now, if that salary includes good players, maybe a pick. Or it's bad salary and a couple of draft picks. So, that's the roster. That's the overview. Honestly, not that long. It was pretty long, but only 10 players, and a lot of them are not good. Let's go on now to the best part of the video, which is going to be trade targets, and it's 5 KD trades. I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to look through free agent signings. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's get into the KD trades. All right, so now we are back with my first KD trade. Now, this is one that all of these Suns fans might get a little mad because it's like you're trading Kevin Durant and you're getting no draft picks. What are we doing? Like how did this happen? But here's my reasoning for each one of these trades. This first one is a Kevin Durant to the Mavericks. Now, this morning, I was having my morning coffee, and it was when these KD reports were coming out, and one of them was the Suns want a center back in a Kevin Durant trade, or they'd prefer to get a center back. And as a Mavericks fan, my heart sank a little bit because the Mavericks want to trade Daniel Gafford. The Mavericks probably want Kevin Durant. So this is the trade I came up with: Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington to the Suns. Kevin Durant to the Mavericks. The Nets get Caleb Martin and some seconds. So for the Suns, you're getting PJ, Gafford, and Klay. PJ and Gafford fit what I was talking about earlier with athleticism, grit, toughness, right? Those are two dudes who started on a finals team. Both of them pride themselves on defense, and they're good athletes for their positions. You can imagine a starting lineup of Booker, Beal, Ryan Dunn, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and you're saying, okay, I like that. And then you add Klay off your bench. This would allow you to, possibly trade Grayson Allen elsewhere, right, to get another big man or another wing. You also get off $9.5 million in salary. Now, at first I wanted to just do Caleb Martin, but it was $90,000 too much, which is not allowed. So I had to do it like this, but I would do this if I'm the Suns. Again, this could involve a draft pick or two. I'm not going to act like this is exactly what the trade would be, but I doubt them. I doubt the Mavs would want to give up a draft pick for Kevin Durant, right? The Suns are getting good role players in this trade. And they have no leverage in any of these trades, by the way. Because a lot of teams are like, well, we could want Kevin Durant. We know he's good, but if we don't get Kevin Durant, we don't get Kevin Durant. I don't think teams are looking at it like, we have to get KD. Like, when KD was getting traded off the Nets, it was a little different. He was 3 years younger, and he didn't have this stench like he has right now. Again, I'm not in league offices, but I would imagine a lot of executives are going, hey, it's like, is Kevin Durant a winner? Do we want that on our roster? Again, for the Mavs, I would be so... I don't even say angry, just shaking my head if they made a trade like this. But it makes sense if the Mavericks are truly all in. But first trade, let's move on to the second trade. This is the Rockets trade. Now, I think from the Suns' point of view, this would be more of a trade of, hey, we're reloading for the future. We're not really focusing. The Mavericks trade would be, we want to compete next season. This would be compete in the future. So you get Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, and your own pick, which is the 10th overall. Now, this would be a little weird because is Jalen Green starting? Is he coming off the bench? I don't know. Honestly, I'd just bench Beal. But Cam Whitmore and Jabari Smith, they're intriguing young guys who fit, again, the point of defense and athleticism. Jabari, I think, the idea of Jabari Smith is so good. This 6'11" guy who can shoot 40% from 3, can post up, can face up, versatile defensively. Hasn't really ever fully clicked, but he's young. And then Cam Whitmore hasn't really played, but I think needs a shot somewhere else. I don't think he's going to play in Houston, and maybe he wants out. And then you get the 10th overall pick, which you can use to draft a center. Right? I would do this in a heartbeat if I'm the Suns. Right? I'm getting future. I'm looking towards the future. I'm getting 3 dudes who are all under 25. And a 10th overall pick. Would the Rockets do this? If they wanted to blow up, if they wanted to go all in, absolutely. Do they want the 10th pick? No. Cam Whitmore's not really in the rotation. Jalen Green, and then Jabari, good player, but he doesn't even start. The Rockets would then have a starting lineup of Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. I think Tari Eason would start, Kevin Durant, and then Alperen Şengün. Like, I like that starting lineup. Or sorry, Amen instead of how could I forget Amen Thompson? I love Amen Thompson, and the Nets get some salary. So I like this trade for both sides. But I think it depends on whether the Rockets want to blow it up. And for people saying, "Oh, this would be 3-4 first-round picks for KD," it's not happening. The Rockets are going to the Suns, and I'm sure they've had conversations. The Rockets are probably going to the Suns and, hey, we'll give you back every draft pick. Give us Devin Booker. KD, we'll give you the 10th pick. But you're not getting anything else future. So, I don't know. I would do this trade, but I don't know if the Rockets want to do it. Like, that's the problem the Suns are in. Third trade here. Got this report, I think it was a couple days ago, that, like, the Raptors want to team up Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I tried to do that trade, and it was, like, 9 players off the Raptors. So, this is the Raptors KD trade. RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Ochai Agbaji, 9th pick, and a Lakers 2026 second. Again, I'm trying to read into tea leaves here. We don't have teams yet for KD. We'll have that in a couple weeks. I'm trying to read through tea leaves. I'm trying to decipher what information leaks. Them wanting a center makes sense, right? Jakob Poeltl, 7'1", big, tall, can block shots, can roll, all that. RJ Barrett, he's been in the league for, like, this is his 7th season, which is crazy, because it feels like RJ Barrett just came in the league, but he's been around for a minute. He's a good player. I don't know if he's a great player. I don't know if he's a player you want to keep long term, but he's a fine player. And then obviously Ochai Agbaji. I like Ochai, right? He's got 3D upside. And then you get the 9th overall pick, and that's the big benefit of this trade, is getting the 9th pick, being able to reset, again, getting a high draft pick. It's the same thing as the Rockets trade. Maybe you get another pick as well, now that I look at it. But for the Raptors, I don't know what the Raptors are doing, to be honest. They traded for Brandon Ingram. If you guys forgot, he's on the Raptors. They traded for BI. They traded for Jakob Poeltl. They traded away OG. They just have this weird roster. It's like, is Kevin Durant making the Raptors a contender? No. No, they're still going to be... I don't know. But if they want to trade for Kevin Durant, if I'm the Suns, I'm going to him and say, oh, you want KD? You want KD? Oh, here you go, right? And this is a good trade for the Suns. Again, I just don't think Kevin Durant's going to get value. And the trades look crazy. It's Kevin Durant, and I'm trading him for 1 first-round pick, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and Ochai Agbaji. Most people don't even know who Ochai Agbaji is. And I'm putting him as one of the principal pieces of a KD trade. But he's 36, I think. 36, 37. And all the off-the-court stuff. And he's on an expiring, so if you trade for him, is he going to stay? I just don't think KD has value like that. But we'll see. Moving on now. It's the Cat trade. They just fired Tom Thibodeau, which I'm going to derail the video to talk about that real quick. How many NBA coaches are going to get fired because of the roster? How many? How many are going to get fired because of their rosters? It is not Tom Thibodeau's fault that Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson cannot play defense. It's not his fault that Mikal Bridges is the most overrated defender in the NBA. It's not Thibs' fault that they can't guard anything, or if they don't want to try to run back on defense. I think, okay, Thibodeau's not the best coach in the league. Agreed, he's not a top 5 coach. There are maybe 3 or 4 coaches that actually make a difference in this league. It's Eric Spoelstra, it's Steve Kerr, and after that, I mean, maybe Rick Carlisle, but 95% of what a team does is their roster. 95%. The other 5% is coaching. Look at a coach like Jason Kidd. In the last 4 seasons, the Mavericks have missed the playoffs twice. And they've made the Western Conference Finals and made the Finals. Is Jason Kidd a good coach? Is he a bad coach? No. He's a pretty good coach. If he has a good roster, they do really well. If he has a bad roster, they don't do very well. It's so dumb to fire your head coach because the roster isn't there. And you made the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not like you lost in the first round. You made it pretty far. It's so dumb. It's baffling to me. It's so stupid. Like, why would you want to be a head coach nowadays? Because these GMs just fire people left and right. Like, I get Michael Malone getting fired. Right? You were headed to a first-round exit if you were the Nuggets. You had just lost in the second round the year before with the best player in the world. I kind of get it. But let's get to the trade now. It's my little rant. I don't even think Thibodeau's that good, but it's just stupid. This trade, the Knicks get Kevin Durant, Suns get Karl Anthony Towns, a Washington pick, which I think is top 10 protected, and then 2 seconds. I think the Knicks would have to send another first, but honestly, they don't even have another first to trade. You could throw in a couple more seconds. I don't know why the Suns would do this, I'm going to be honest. Cat is the last type of player they need. They need tough, gritty guys, not another finesse player. But he is a center, and they get some extra draft capital. But, man, you're just stacking the worst contracts in the NBA if you trade for Cat, man. Him, Beal, Booker, like, damn. I don't think this is a good trade. I did it because people are talking about it, but I think you should try to split KD into multiple players, because then, you know, those guys can leave in free agency. You could trade them individually, and that's how you can kind of start to get off money and start getting it cheaper, getting off the second apron, instead of doing this where all you're accomplishing is, instead of just getting a worse player. Obviously, the Knicks would do this. I mean, you get Kevin Durant for Karl Anthony Towns. I think the only real Knicks-Suns KD trade is like Mikal and OG, which I could do a framework like that, and I tried to do it, but it involved like 4 teams and all these players. I don't think it's very likely. I just threw it out here because people have talked about it. And I have Tyler Kolek going to the Nets, so this could work. So maybe but I doubt it. The final trade is the Miami Heat. I didn't know a fit team, and I was like, the Heat are desperate. They've done some dumb shit recently. Let's do the Heat. So I have the trade here. Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, Jaime Jaquez, the 20th pick, and then a future draft pick. So back to that point of getting gritty, splitting him up into 3 role players. So Andrew Wiggins, I've been on the Andrew Wiggins hype train for years. Years I have liked Andrew Wiggins. He's a good player. You know, at his best, he's one of the best 3-and-D wings in the league. Now, he's very inconsistent, but it makes sense. Jaime Jaquez had a down second year, had a sophomore slump. Right after his first year, everyone was like, "Whoa, I mean, this guy could be like something." And then it's like, he's fine. I like Jaime Jaquez though. He's a good player, a solid wing, and then Duncan Robinson is just salary. He's expiring. And you get the 20th pick. You already have the 29th pick in this draft, so 2 extra. You would have 2 firsts, another future pick. I would do this. Like, you don't get your center, but now you have 2 picks to try to find that center. And I'll talk about free agents here at the end. Some centers you could target. I like this. I would like this type of trade. I can see a starting lineup of Beal, Booker, Andrew Wiggins, Ryan Dunn. Insert center, and then you have Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Jaime Jaquez, Oso Ighodaro. It's not a great team. It's not a team that's going to win the NBA Finals, but like, that's a solid team. And you get some extra draft picks. Like, this is a good trade in my opinion for the Suns. For the Heat, why would they do this? The Heat are so far away, but I mean, the East is so bad next year that shit. I mean, might as well. Finally, to wrap this up, I'm just going to talk about some free agent names. Center is a big one. Clint Capella, Brook Lopez, those type of names for free agents. I think the Suns could be a place that a center could go. For example, Clint Capella. Capella's not starting anywhere, right? Like, I talked about him in my Lakers video. Maybe Capella to the Lakers, but he's probably not starting in LA. Or else something has gone terribly wrong. But for the Suns, like, they get Capella, he's probably starting. Right? Or, like, Brook Lopez, he's probably starting for the Suns. So, I would look through the centers. Abandon the point guard thing. It's so dumb. Oh, let's sign a point guard. Okay, what is that going to help you with? You don't need more small, unathletic shot creators. You need defenders. Again, this free agent class, I haven't really studied it too much in terms of the minimum guys, but I think it's like Taurean Prince, a free agent. He's always a free agent. Again, I would just look for athletes and then try to get some centers. I do think there's a pathway for the Suns to be a playoff team next year. The West is unbelievably loaded. But if they make the right moves, I don't think it's impossible. I know this was just a KD trade video. Honestly, there's not too much else to talk about. We can talk about how bad the Beal deal was for hours, but KD is a big fish. So that's going to do it for this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what team you'd like to see me do next. I'm going to be doing an NBA Finals preview for our next video. Super excited for the Finals. Anybody who's complaining, they don't know ball. Even if it is going to be a pretty short series. It's going to be a fun series. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.